What's up guys, are you tired of watching endless shake tutorials, but your shakes still don't look good? Well, in this tutorial I'll show you the best way to add shakes, and I'll also point out some mistakes that even the pro editors still make. Alright, let's get right into the video. So we got our clips here and we're going to make a shake right here. So just go with your time indicator here, and then make an adjustment layer above all your clips. So you can do Ctrl Alt plus Y, or you can go here, new, and then adjustment layer. Then you should go 3 frames before the actual point you want your shake to be. So 1, 2, 3, and then you cut it, so Ctrl Shift plus D. Then you can go to the center again, and then here you can go 6 frames forward, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then cut it here as well, and then delete the rest. Now to make it easy for you guys to see, I'll just add a marker here, and I do it with the asterisk key on my keyboard. So here is where the shake will actually be. Then we're going to add an effect called S-Shake. And if you don't see this effect, you might have to download the plugin called Sapphire. Alright, I'm going to show you 3 different types of shakes. The first one is more for an edgy look. The second one is a more versatile one, so you can use it on any AMV. And the last one is for a more vibe style edit. Keep in mind though that you can use any of these shakes in any edit to make it look unique. So first I'll show you the edgy shake. You want the frequency to be higher, so keep it between 6 and 10. But I'll just make it 7. Then you want to leave the amplitude at 1, because here we're not going to change the intensity of our effect. So that's what I see in a lot of shake presets as well. Just leave this at 1. We will just use this to keyframe it. Then you don't need to change the phase. But if you want to know what it does, it's basically when you would write out your shake in a graph and you change the phase, it will just go further in time. And I'll probably visualize it on the screen so you can understand it better. And then the Z-dist, you also don't need to change this, but this just zooms in and zooms out. Then motion blur, I'd recommend not using this, but if you do, make sure it has a lower number here on the Mo blur length. This just looks really bad if you have a higher value. You can just use RSMB instead or any other motion blur plugin. We'll just disable it. And then the seed, this one is also a very important one. This will basically just change the randomization. So if you have a certain shake but you just think it's a little off, you can just try changing the seed and it might look better. Alright, and these things, rep X and rep Y, you can really see it clearly now, but if you change the amplitude, you can see we get these black lines. To fix this, you basically want to put these both on no. And then you want to go to the layer of your clip and add an effect called CC Repeatile. And then here you can change it to 200. So just change all these things to 200 and then change it to unfold. And this will look way more clean. Alright, so we'll just go to our adjustment layer again and set the amplitude to 1 again. And now comes the part that most editors find difficult, but I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So the first one is X-Shake. You can just open this up. And then you have all these settings here. And this is basically the same for Y-Shake and Z-Shake and Tilt Shake. So the X-Shake basically does what it says. It will shake your clip on the X-axis. Then you have 2 kind of categories. So the first one is the randomized category and the second one is the wave category. But you just need to visualize the randomized ones as a graph that looks like this, and the wave ones like a graph that looks like this, which means that the wave ones are very form in case you want a shake that isn't too randomized. So we'll use both. What I like to do for the X-Shake is put the values very low. So we'll just put this at 5 and then this one at 10, and we won't even change the frequencies because we're mainly going to focus on the Y-Shake. Lastly, the X-Phase, it's basically the same as the one up here. So you can also scroll through your graph in time. Then the Y-Shake, here we're going to set the values a little higher, so I'm going to set it to 40, and then here to 80. And then I'll also make this random frequency a little higher, so I'll make it 1.1. Alright, now it looks like this. It still looks bad obviously, but we'll change that later. And I can also see we didn't add CC Repeatile in here, so we'll just copy it over. Alright, the next one is Z-Shake, and I usually don't change this, but it's basically the same as the X-Shake and the Y-Shake, just on the Z-axis. And then lastly, Tilt Shake. This one is a little harder, but basically the same settings. I like to put the first one to 2.5, and then this one to 1.5. And then I like to change this one to 0.9, and this one to 0.6. Alright, now it looks like this. And now we can start keyframing. So I'll close this, and now we'll change this amplitude up here. So make a keyframe with this icon here. And then you can go to the beginning, select your layer, press U, and then you can make another keyframe, make this one 0, go to the end, make another keyframe, and make this one 0 as well. Alright, then you can select them all, press F9, and then you can go to the graph editor with this button up here. Now you want to drag this handle here a little bit to the right. Then this one up here, you want to drag it down. And then you want to play with these two handles here. So if you want your shake to be more subtle, you want to drag this handle more to the left. By the way, if you want your handles to stay straight at all time, you can just hold shift, and this will make sure they are horizontally locked in. So if you want them to be more subtle, you drag them to the left. As you can see, barely visible. If you want it to be less subtle, you can drag this one more to the right, and this one as well maybe. As you can see, now you can see a little bit of the shake. Now, if you want it more intense, you're not going to change it here, but in your X shake, Y shake, and tilt shake. So we'll go to the Y shake again, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. So what I like to do is always double these values. If I have 50 here, I'm going to put 100 here. And now, as you can see, a very fast-paced shake. You can even increase the frequency even more, so let's put it at 8, and that looks a lot better. Alright, and then again, you can change the seed if you don't like it. And then you have a different thing. Alright, so this was the longest part of the tutorial, but now I'll show you two other shakes that you can quickly make. So for the more versatile shake, you just increase the length just by a little. And then you want to go to the X shake, make this one 10, this one 20. Then you want to go to the tilt shake, and then here you can set it at 3, and then here maybe at 2. And lastly, you want the frequency to be something like 2. And as you can see, it's a more slow-paced shake, which you can use on any AMV. Now I do want it more subtle, so I'll just drag these to the left a bit. Alright, that looks great. Now the last thing is the vibe style shake, so make it even longer. Then make sure to extend the keyframe as well. Then set the frequency to something like 2.5. You want to change the Y shake to something like 30 and then 60. And then the X shake to something like 20 and then 40. And then you want to change the tilt shake. Here you want to set it to 2. And then here 1.5. And then you can change this one to 1. Now go to the graph editor again. And then you can extend it to the right. Alright, I actually want the X shake to be a little more intense. So I'll just set it to 40 and then 80. And then we'll set this one to 0.8. Alright, so this shake is more for a vibe style. And I might also add some blur, so enable this. But make sure it's a really low value. So something like this. Alright, so these are the shakes I wanted to show you guys. So just keep in mind that you don't want to change too much up here. Only the frequency. And that you mainly want to use these three things here, X shake, Y shake, and tilt shake, to change things about your shake. So yeah, hopefully you've learned a lot, and if you did, make sure to subscribe. And if you want me to help you even more with After Effects, then make sure to go to the first link in the description down below. Alright, bye bye.